I need to have a vent session for a second about the state of affairs in this country. So I have two adult children. One is 18 going on 19 and the other one is 21. My 18-year-old is working currently as an HVAC apprentice and working on getting certified, but he's making $16 an hour, which I live in a small to mid-sized Missouri town, so that's pretty typical around here. Wages are, low compared to a lot of places, but so is the cost of living. But he would also not like to be living at home with mom forever. He's more of an independent, autonomous person. So apartment living is not for him at all. He wants a place where he can have his truck and his dirt bikes and be able to work on motors and have the freedom to do what he wants with the place and also be able to have all of his stuff. And at this point, honestly, renting a house would cost more than a mortgage payment anyway. But he's been looking for houses and just trying to figure out what he can afford and what he can do. And he found this place that was only $125,000, which is dirt cheap around here. That just doesn't exist anymore, but it had no basement. It was on a slab foundation, I think, and probably needed some work, which he is naturally talented at that stuff. He works in HVAC. He's very mechanically inclined. He can do this stuff. So he's not afraid of a fixer-upper. Found out that the main reason it was priced so cheap is because it was in a flood zone. So it was a no anyway. But keep in mind, $125,000 house in this economy. And when we looked up to see if he did a 5% down payment on this thing with, your insurance and PMI and taxes and everything, his payment would still be $1,100 a month for a cheap piece of crap house. And just the look of absolute dread on his face when he realized how completely unaffordable and unattainable it is for him to be able to buy a house and live on his own. Now, my oldest son just turned 21. He's been waiting to turn 21 because he wants to get into the cannabis industry. And it's just like the alcohol industry, where if you want to be a brewer or a bartender.
I'm going to just pause right there because she's talking about two sons. But let's get the first son out the way. We know the economy is shit right now, or so people say. Anyways, there's those that make money and there's those that don't make as much money. There's those that are aggressive towards making more money, and there are those that like to choose to be distracted, should I say, and they end up not making more money. Anyways, one son is avoiding paying rent, and he believes that a good deal, and she believes that a good deal on a house that he's looking at was $125,000. All right. Now that sounds like a great price, but there were some stipulations to it. It obviously needed work and it was in a flood zone. That was a no for him. But let's just break this down on a more simplistic level. If you're paying $2,000 a month for rent, which is extremely high, especially compared to the housing living standards that they said they're used to paying for their state. I think she said Mississippi, I think. But anyways, if you get $2,000 a month for rent, that's $24,000 per year just for rent. You don't have to worry about maintenance fees. You don't have to worry about repairing anything. Even if you're skilled at it, it still costs you time. Most people, we say this all the time, they calculate how much it's going to cost in their wallets, but they don't calculate how much it's going to cost with the time that they have. Anyways, I digress. Over a 5-year time span and some change, you will eventually pay $125,000 with $2,000 a month rent. But that's 5 years and some change. Imagine how much money and time this person, her son, would save if he were to rent. Because $125,000 ain't going away. And then she's talking about how, his house payments, his mortgage would only be $1,100. We're not including your utilities, which is more expensive when you're living in a house. We're not including the property taxes, which you have to pay when you're living in a house. We're not including the things that are already wrong, which you have to take care of if you want to live in a house and be comfortable. We're not even looking at what could go wrong with the house. We're not even considering how much money is going towards the interest that's owed on the house. So just because, again, people say, well, it's $1,100 for a mortgage for this house that needs work on it, it's so much better than paying rent. By the time you finish paying off that house, most people going to take 20 years to pay that off anyways. $125,000. That's what? Hold on, y'all. I'm going to do the math. If he's paying, let's just say roughly $1,000 a month, 125,000 divided by 1,000. So what, 12 and a half years? If I'm doing that math right, 12 and a half years, bro, you can invest that money. You know what I'm saying? People all use your money to make money. Please, somebody, can somebody, oh my God, can somebody use their money to make more money before we start just buying things? Like just owning things and having 6-digit numbers that you owe besides your name. I just
You have to be 21 in order to do it. So this past week, Thursday, he interviewed for a job with a grower. And just a couple of days ago, he was offered the position and officially accepted it. And in that time, less than a week, we decided to start a war with Iran. And so when he interviewed for the job, gas prices were around $2.50 a gallon where I'm at, and now they are already at $3 a gallon and climbing. So just in the time between when he interviewed for this job and when he accepted this job, gas prices have gone up 50 cents a gallon, and they're not done climbing yet. And this is an issue because this job, there's a lot of dispensaries here in town where if he had, ended up there, he'd probably be a little bit better off. But this was the job opening that was available at the time for him to get into the industry. And it is a farm, which is 30 miles up the interstate from where we live. So now he is going to be driving one way to work 30 miles at a time when gas prices are going through the roof, because we decided it was a good idea to start a completely unwarranted, unjustified, and unnecessary war with.
This is something you just can't control. I mean, blame who you want to blame, but it affects everyone.
Iran. And I'm now sitting here thinking about my own situation, where my own currently hourly wage is, and considering if I was their age, if I was just starting out. So thinking about buying the same house that I live in right now at its current value, at current interest rates, with the same percent down payment that I paid for this house back in 2017. And I realized that my payment would be double what it currently is. And I, as a 40-year-old woman who has been working for 24 years of my life, could not afford this place on my own. Like at 40 years old, I would need a roommate in order to live in this very modest, like 1,300 square foot, 1968 ranch style home. Like it's not a fancy house by any stretch. It's what most people.
It doesn't need to be fancy. If the banks say it's more valuable, it's more valuable. Why? It's almost like saying, like looking at a luxury car and be like, man, they must be rich. No, most people who have luxury cars also borrow money from the banks and they focus on the credit score. And just because they get a $0 down payment, they think they can afford the thing until they have to get hit with the maintenance fees. And then the economy and then your job and prices going up and you're not making money fast enough. This is why we put our money that we work for into vehicles that print money so we can beat the rate of inflation and things like this. Because truth be told, most people just work for the money and then spend the money they work for and then stay on that cycle. And then the prices of things go up and you don't keep up with those hikes because you're really not in control of your income. That's the real problem. That's the real problem, whether you like it or not. I said what I said. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Let's continue.
People would consider to be essentially a starter home by today's standards. And I could not afford it on my own on my current wages. So my question is, how the hell are we expecting these young kids to do it? Like for someone to start out, even in my area, in like rural Missouri, they would have to make 30.
Okay, so for one, how? This is what I believe. Watch this. I got to get a new chair, first of all, y'all, because this pump keeps going down eventually. But number one, he's making $16 an hour. He doesn't need to be looking at moving out, honestly. That's number one. $16 an hour is roughly like $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. And we're not even talking about taxes. You know what I'm saying? Don't move out. Second of all, if you do move out, have roommates. You don't need to own every single aspect that you think you need. Quote unquote, think you need. Okay? Most people, when they get a house, oh, this is my house. Oh, yeah, this is the trap they want you to be in. Feel like you own something and we really own you. What do they own, Jay? They own your money that you ain't even made yet. You're buying stuff off the money that you believe you're going to have coming in. And then when things don't go your way because success isn't linear, it just doesn't go straight up like that, right? Guess what happens? You start to, man, why is the economy like this? Like, how are we supposed to live? Be smarter. Simple answer, be smarter. It's hard to be smart, though, when you get advice from people who don't know how to get out of their own situation. That's what I'll say. It's like asking somebody obese how to lose weight. and they've never had to lose weight in their life. They've never cared about losing weight in their life, but they've watched so many videos of people losing weight that they know, okay, cool. Yeah, you know, but what's most important is implementation. A lot of people have this perception of knowledge is power. No, it's not. It's execution. You know how many people know how to make more money, but they don't have the execution, the willpower, the discipline, the time management to set aside time so they can get out of the situation they're in? This is why Americans are complaining about the economy. You know the economy goes up and down. That's not new news. I'm 28 years old. I know the economy goes up and down. Why is somebody 40 years old complaining about the same economy? Come on now. We're not working on becoming better, becoming smarter. We're not self-educating ourselves to adapt to what's happened in the past and what's to come. Because you can hear, oh my God, you can learn lessons through other people's mistakes. This is one of the reasons why I make these type of videos. Let's continue.
Hey America, are you guys okay? Because everything we're seeing over here in Australia of what you guys are going through, I don't have words for it. And I genuinely wonder, are a lot of you guys wanting to leave? How does that look right now for you guys, especially with families? If you are planning to go, where are you going? Is it hard?
So many people in the U.S. say they're ready to leave, but they don't know the stipulations that happen in other countries. But let me know in the comment section down below. Have you ever left the United States with intentions of not coming back? And if you are out of the States, let me know. So let's see what the comment section had to say, because I think it had 25,000 comments. All right. One of the top like comments that got 20,000 likes said, "No, we aren't okay. We can't afford to leave. And who would take us?" Wow. In a country where you can make as much money as possible. Another person said, "Most of us can't leave. We can't afford to take even a couple days off." That's your fault. That's your fault. If you can't afford to take a couple days off, that means you can't even go on vacation. Of course you can't leave. Why can't you go on vacation? Maybe because you're not using the same money principles that's being used against you, and you're not using them for you. Maybe you're living above your means. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Fact. I could leave, but I won't. Why? My grandpa fought in World War II. He passed in 2019. All respect to the people who serve this country. I stay and fight in his honor. This is my home. I love that. That's amazing. Now I wonder what some people underneath that said. My grandpa. Okay, cool. So people actually standing up. This is why we need to stay to have a revolution, not be scared that we live paycheck to paycheck. That will be the only way to change. A revolution? Your ass still gonna be broke. A revolution? Come on, man. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's continue.
My husband and I finally made the difficult decision to leave the United States. It was not an easy decision, and it came from a lot of conversations. But we finally realized we're fighting to stay somewhere that not only is he unwanted, but we're fighting to stay at a place that's just falling apart more and more each day and becoming an unrecognizable place.
That's the world, baby. That's not just the United States. You're not escaping anything when you do that. I mean, if you want to make sure that, something isn't falling apart, I don't know where you should move. Y'all got any suggestions? That's the world. It's corruption in the world everywhere. Whether you like who's in office or not. That's everywhere, man.
My husband came here to study English and to be part of, everything the United States had to offer, which was a better life. The irony. Let me tell you a few things that I'm also forfeiting as a U.S. citizen that our country fights so hard to protect their interest. I am now forced to go live in another country just to preserve my marriage. This comes with leaving my family behind, leaving my law license behind that took me years and years to get. I'm not licensed, obviously, in another country, so I have to find an entirely new profession and start over entirely. Being a disabled...
That's on you, though. I'm not understanding. How is this also threatening her marriage? I'm very confused.
veteran, someone who broke their back and both of their hips in the military, I am now forced to forfeit my personalized care plan that I have worked the last decade to develop with my physicians.
Okay, you're not forced unless you're getting forced out. You're again, I'm failing to hear where she's talking about how she's forced to leave the United States. From my recollection, she said that they've decided to leave.
I have medications that I take on a daily basis, and the VA does not ship them out of the country. This also just means that our kids will not really have a relationship with my family. How did we get to a place where like the destruction, the waterfall of destruction is just so normalized? I can't stress enough how much I'm not trying to make this about me as much as I'm trying to shed light for those who truly don't get it yet. You should care that your fellow citizens are now being forced to leave the country to stay married. That's
Very confused on this. We're going to get in the comment section in just a couple seconds. But what I also want to say is people have been wanting to leave the United States long before Trump got in office. I don't think this is just a Trump thing or who's ever in office. Like, let's see what the comment section has to say. One person said, "My husband and I left last January. We are now in a small town just outside of Merida, the second safest city in North America. Best decision we ever made. See if you can work remotely. That may help in the interim. Best wishes to you in your journey." America isn't the way it is because he's president. He's president because of the way America is. Sure. What do you all think about that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Someone else said, "This is what I've been saying for a while now. He's not the cause. He's a symptom." Anyways, like I said, people have been wanting to leave the United States. I ain't leaving the United States. I think it's one of the best countries in the world, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know too many about other regions, and, you know, I will once I start to travel more and see different cultures and see different regions of the world. But at the end of the day, I think we still are in one of the best countries of the world. Whether you like it or not, there's a lot of freedom that you can utilize when it comes down to certain things. I'm not speaking for everything. All right. And a lot of you might be like, well, no, they're trying to take away this. They're trying to take away that or whatever. Look, I make YouTube videos for part of my living. I'm talking about the freedom to start a business, the freedom to, you know, I don't like it, but take money out and start something that allows you to have more control over your income. That's what I'm talking about. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below.
If oil hits $300 a barrel, this is how life could change for the United States and everyone in it. With oil being blocked, most people think that just our gas is going to go up. But in fact, oil is essential in things like medicine, energy, and everything else pretty much in the world. If oil hits $300 a barrel, which they are predicting it will, gas prices could go up to $15 per gallon, and medicine could almost double or triple the cost that it is now. But that is just one domino that will fall. Families will start to have to make hard choices. Now, to understand all of this, you need to know that America's superpower is not its military, it's the dollar. After World War II, the United States made a deal where all oil around the world gets bought with the US dollar. This is what is called the petrodollar. Every country that needs oil needs to buy it in dollars, and this is what keeps the United States on top. Now, with the recent conflict, they are blocking oil on purpose. They want to essentially topple our economy. Now, Iran is not the only country that wants to topple the US dollar. There's plenty of other countries that do as well. These are called the BRICS countries, and they have unified, and they want a gold-backed standard instead of a US dollar standard. Most people don't know that the US dollar standard has only been around since the late 1940s. Every single currency throughout the history of time has always been turned over or toppled. Every single one. Now, while you have all this going on, Wall Street is also sitting on a time bomb. The stock market is being propped up by the AI bubble. These are not AI profits, it's just all hype. If the AI bubble pops, it is bad news for most people. Most retirement accounts will basically go to almost zero, and the US will be in a very, very bad situation. Now, this is where Ray Dalio comes in. If you don't know Ray Dalio, he was a very successful investor, but he also wrote a book called The Changing of the World Order. What he talks about is that every 75 to 100 years, there's a changing in the world power. Right now, we've been a world power for a little over 100 years, and he has said that we are basically at the end of the timeline. It happens to everybody, Britain, Holland, and just keep going back through time. Every superpower eventually topples. It's not a prediction anymore, it's a pattern. Now, the scary part is that all three of these things are about to topple at the same time. oil, the stock market, and the dollar. Now, to make matters worse, they have started hitting desalination plants. Desalination plants are critical in order for water supply. If you heard, there was an attempted attack or a drone attack on California on our desalination plants. They are going to go after our most critical resources via cyber attack, via natural resources, so you need to be prepared. This is what I would do to prepare. If you don't have a stockpile of any sort of common medicines for you, for your kids, that is what I would stock up on immediately. Additionally, get food supplies for the next few months. That is what you're going to need, and get some cash saved away. That vacation that you were thinking about taking, I would double think that, because the prices of AC, air conditioning, are going to go up dramatically. We're going to have a very hot summer here in the United States, and the price of oil is going to go up to $300 a barrel. Now, we use 40% oil to power our energy supply here in the United States. So the prices of everything are about to go through the roof. You need to be prepared, and you need to
I do agree. We need to be prepared for multiple things that may happen, quote on the may. But let's see what the comment section has to say. Someone said, we are not in an AI bubble. Another person said, we grew up in the best time to be a kid and the worst time to be an adult, and I'm so irritated. So the way I think about it is, yeah, have your non-perishables. I'm not too much of a survival type of, I got everything I need for the next 6 months, food supply, all this, that, and the third. Will it get that bad? We will find out. You know what I'm saying? I hope that people with less than don't suffer. I do believe that you need to have a savings account. I do believe that people need to be more careful about how they spend and more aggressive off of investing. I don't think that everybody's going to lose their retirement money. I think most people put money into the market and they just don't look at it and they don't care, and they hear something's going up and they just throw their money in and hope for the best. We will see, but let me know in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts about this? Do you actually think that it will get that deep when it comes down to this war with Iran and the U.S. economy being hit? Let me know in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you like the content.